After graduation, I inherited the small shop left by my parents and obtained a check.in system. Ding, obtain the beginner gift pack X1. Do you want to open it? Open the beginner gift pack, Zhou Chao said, lying on the chair. Open the beginner gift pack to obtain Wuling Hongguang MINIEV, cash of 10,000 yuan. Keywords of the novel. Shenhao signs in from the small sales department without pop-ups. Shenhao signs in from the small sales department with full download of TXT, and Shenhao signs in from the small sales department with the latest chapters to read. Chapter 1. Going Home. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Going Home. Parallel Universe. Blue Star Huaxia, Magic City. Jingyan District. Room 404 of a certain apartment. The vast horizon is my love, and flowers are blooming at the foot of the endless green mountains. Zhou Chao picked up the phone placed on the table, looked at the incoming call with a dazed expression, and then ran his finger across the screen. Hello, third aunt. Chao, when will you return to Fuzhou? You've been graduating for so long now, so come back and take a look. The small shop left by your parents is still doing well, Zhou Chao thought to himself as he listened to a slightly hoarse voice on the phone. Sangu, I'll be back in 2 days. Hey, it's good to come back. Your sister misses you a lot and keeps clamoring to call you every day. It's been 3 or 4 years since I last saw her in the blink of an eye. Xiaoyan should be graduating from high school by now. Well, you've been mischievous, come back and take good care of her, said the third aunt with a hint of helplessness. How much does the boss cost? Zhou Chao heard a voice on the phone and immediately said, Third aunt, please be busy first, I'll hang up first. Zhou Chao stared blankly out the window with his phone in hand. Zhou Chao was a traveler from Earth. In my mind, I was thinking about the situation I had just traveled through a few years ago. My predecessor had just graduated from high school, and during the summer vacation, I worked with my parents to manage a small grocery store. I followed my parents to Wudu to purchase goods, but on the way back, I had a car accident and was hit by an overloaded truck. My predecessor was seriously injured and died. However, Zhou Chao took a nap and traveled to this world to replace him. He lay in the hospital for a month and a half before being discharged. Unfortunately, my parents passed away due to ineffective rescue efforts. The affairs of Zhou's father and Zhou's mother were all taken care of by his third aunt. Due to the driver's serious overloading at the time, the insurance company only paid a small part of the compensation. In the end, the driver's family only paid 300,000 yuan, and the insurance company paid a total of 800,000 yuan. Zhou's parents left Zhou Chao with a large 3-bedroom house and a small shop, which was also temporarily operated by his aunt. A few years have passed in the blink of an eye. I successfully graduated from college and recently quit my job. After all, when I wasn't traveling, I was just an ordinary person. I didn't remember anything about novels and TV dramas, and I couldn't be a cultural porter anymore. The next morning, Zhou Chao rushed to Hongqiao Airport with his luggage. Last night, he called the landlord to refund the house and didn't want the deposit. Ding, the flight from Mo-do to Wudu has started ticket checking. Passengers are requested to check their tickets and board in a timely manner. Zhou Chao checked his luggage, boarded the plane, put away his luggage, and looked out the window. He was stunned and said, Goodbye, Mo-do, I will come back. Hello, Sangu, I just got off the plane. I'll take a car and come back directly. Zhou Chao just walked out of Wudu Jiangbei Airport when he received a call from Sangu. Yes, I'll go buy some groceries and come straight to my place for lunch when I come back. I'll go back first. Without saying a word, I heard the phone hang up. Looking at his phone, Zhou Chao smiled and shook his head. He knew that his third aunt wanted him to go home for dinner. Hey, Zhou Chao sighed and waved his head, carrying his luggage, to board the airport bus in Fuzhou. Approaching noon, Zhou Chao returned to his long-lost hometown of Fuzhou, the hometown of pickled vegetables, and casually called a taxi to go to the Golden Coast. Zhou Chao looked out the window, at the city he had not seen in recent years, and his thoughts drifted somewhere. Handsome guy, the Golden Coast is here, 8 yuan. The voice of the taxi driver awakened the wandering Zhou Chao. Zhou Chao took out his phone and paid for the fare. After getting off the car, Zhou Chao settled down and walked towards the community. Dong dong dong, Zhou Chao gently knocked on the door, coming. A strong and powerful voice came in. With a click, Zhou Chao opened the door and saw a sturdy middle-aged man. He said, "Uncle, you're also at home, aren't you at work? Didn't I hear from your third aunt that you're back? Come in quickly and bring me your luggage. Chower, come in quickly and you can eat soon." The voice of the third aunt came from the kitchen. My uncle took the luggage in his hand and walked into the room, saying as he walked, "Your third aunt made your favorite dish. It's been a long time since she tasted it, hasn't it? Dinner's ready, come over and sit down to eat." The third aunt walked out of the kitchen with a plate of slippery meat soup. "Does Chao know how to drink? Have 2 drinks with your uncle." "I can't drink it for nothing, I can still drink some beer," Zhou Chao said with a smile. "Come on, let's drink it first. We have your favorite smooth meat soup and braised pig trotters." Uncle casually handed over 2 bottles of beer. The third aunt also walked out of the kitchen carrying dishes. "Let's eat with all the dishes." Then everyone changed their chopsticks, and time quietly passed by as you and I spoke. After finishing her meal and drinking, Sangu sat next to Zhou Chao and said, "Chao, if you're back now, let's take over the small shop. The profits from the small shop in recent years have not been very good, only around 200,000 yuan. Wait for Sangu to transfer the money to your card." Upon hearing this, Zhou Chao shook his head and said, "Auntie, I can take over the small shop, but I don't want the money anymore. You've been running it all these years, so take the money." "That's not possible. You can keep the money yourself. You don't have a job or anything else right now. When you need the money, it's settled. Your third aunt will transfer the money to you later," exclaimed the uncle, who was half lying next to him. Zhou Chao pondered for a moment and said, "I only need half of the money now, and you can keep the rest. When I'm short of money, I'm asking you for it. This should be enough, otherwise I won't want a penny." The third aunt looked at her uncle and said, "All right, let me know when the money is missing. By the way, you can take this key. This is the key to your small shop. You can keep it yourself and go take over the shop tomorrow." "Aha, I got it." It was 2:30 p.m. in the blink of an eye. Zhou Chao stood up and said, "Third aunt and uncle, I'm going home first. I still need to tidy up when I go back." "Okay, in recent years, there have been cleaners at home every week to clean everything," said the third aunt. Zhou Chao immediately turned around to carry his luggage, said goodbye, and then opened the door to leave. Returning to his home after a 4-year absence, Zhou Chao held the photos of his parents on the table with both hands, tears streaming down his face. Perhaps this was the obsession left by his predecessor. The next morning, Zhou Chao left the door and walked towards the small shop with the key to it. The convenience store is located near an old residential area, which was the largest in the city 20 years ago. With the changing times, the previously bustling places have gradually become outdated. The place of residence is not far from the small shop, and it takes about 10 minutes to walk. Zhou Chao looked at the small shop where his parents had been struggling for 20 years, and couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope in his heart. "I will live a good life, whether for myself or for my parents," he said. Zhou Chao stood in front of the convenience store and opened the door with a key. Ding. "This is my first time writing a novel. If there are any mistakes, I hope you can give me more guidance. Thank you." End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Obtaining Check-in System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Obtaining Check-in System. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully activating the Check.in system. Do you want to bind the system? Zhou Chao is completely confused. The system. Isn't this kind of thing only present in novels? Am I the offspring favored by heaven? Can you introduce your functions in the system? After binding to the system, daily check.in can be performed, which can be divided into daily, weekly, monthly, and annual check.in. The longer the check.in is accumulated, the more precious the items obtained. The sound in his mind, ding, is it bound to the check.in system, woke up Zhou Chao, who was just in a daze. Bind now. Congratulations to the host for binding the system and obtaining the beginner gift package X1. Do you want to open the beginner gift package? I won't open it for now. Zhou Chao pushed open the door and walked into the convenience store. Looking at the less than 50 square meter convenience store, he thought of just obtaining the system and sighed, the future is promising. Zhou Chao turned around and sat on the lounge chair behind the cashier, saying, check in. Ding, successful check.in. Congratulations to the host Wuling Hongguang MINIEV, cash of 10,000 yuan. Wuling Hongguang. What is the situation? Is your prize so low? End in the system. Host, you have read too many novels. This system is fair and just. The more accumulated check.in days the system has, the more precious the items are. Okay, it's better to have something than not, Zhou Chao said while lying on the lounge chair, rolling his eyes. System, open the beginner gift pack. Open the system gift package and congratulate the host on receiving 10 residential properties in Binjiang community with a cash payment of 100,000 yuan. Do you want to claim it? 10 residential units. Zhou Chao stood up happily from the lounge chair. Claim it. Received. Bank of China 9527 received 110,000 yuan, with a balance of 965,328.62 yuan. What about the system, car, and property certificate? The car has been parked in the parking space outside the convenience store, with the key in the first drawer of the cash register and the property certificate in the car. Zhou Chao excitedly opened the drawer and saw the key lying quietly inside. When Zhou Chao took the key and walked outside, he saw a small Hongguang Mini parked in a parking space 10 meters away from the convenience store. Quickly walking forward, Zhou Chao opened the car door and looked at a pile of red notebooks placed in the driver's seat. The area on the property certificate that Zhou Chao opened was between 80.100 square meters. After thinking to himself, the total value of these houses was about 6 or 7 million yuan. The system, will the cash signed in attract the bank's attention? Zhou Chao asked nervously. Please rest assured that the funds come from a certain overseas foundation. Please use them boldly and confidently, Zhou Chao said before letting go of his worries. Boss, let's go there and buy a pack of cigarettes. Zhou Chao heard someone calling him at the convenience store and immediately put away his property certificate, locked the door, and walked towards the store. Here we go, are you going to buy Sazi cigarettes? A pack of Huazi. Okay, right away. Zhou Chao walked into the cashier and took out a bag of Huazi from behind, handing it to the customer. Oh, why did the boss change people? The customer exclaimed in surprise. Oh, my previous boss was my third aunt. Now that I have taken over, I will be the one to manage it in the future. I will also trouble you to take care of the business more in the future, Zhou Chao said to the customer with a smile. Oh, this is just a small matter. We are all loyal customers now. Don't worry, boss, come and scan the code. Zhou Chao took out his phone and opened the WeChat payment code. Ding, the WeChat account received 45 yuan. The phone rang a prompt to receive the account, and the customer raised their phone and walked out of the convenience store. Time passed by in a blink of an eye. At the end of the day, Zhou Chao sold a total of 2,000 to 3,000 items, most of which were oil, rice, tea, cigarettes, and so on. Zhou Chao took out his phone to check the time, and it was already past 8 p.m. After thinking about it, he decided to end his first day as the boss. Immediately, I did a simple cleaning, locked the door of the small shop, and walked towards the car. After 4 years of college experience, Zhou Chao had already obtained his driver's license and finally had the opportunity to showcase his skills. As the Hongguang Mini is a compact electric vehicle, it is not very troublesome. Zhou Chao easily mastered the driving skills. After returning home and taking a simple shower, Zhou Chao lay in bed with the waves in his heart still unsettled. My life brought earth-shattering changes from this moment on, tossing and turning in bed until late at night before slowly falling asleep. The vast horizon is my love. At the foot of the lush green mountains, flowers are blooming. The ringing of the phone's incoming call woke up Zhou Chao from his sleep. He picked up the phone with his back hand and looked at the phone number without any notes. His finger ran across the screen. Hey, that one. Zhou Chao said blankly. Zhou Chao, you're a dog. If you hadn't met your third aunt yesterday, I wouldn't have known you were back, even if you hadn't returned to Fuzhou. A roar of anger came from the other end of the phone. Zhou Chao took his phone 1 meter away and only brought it back after shouting from the other side. At this point, Zhou Chao knew that the person calling him was his childhood friend, Lei Mingtang. As his name suggests, he spoke like thunder. From elementary school to high school, the two of them were in the same class, so their relationship was particularly good. Thunderbolt battle, could you please keep your voice down? I just came back and settled down. I was thinking about calling you 2 days to arrange a gathering, but you called me first. Didn't you watch the high school QQ class group? The class monitor is organizing a gathering for everyone, saying that everyone has graduated from college and is getting together. I heard that your first love, Xia Yuan, will also come. Xia Yuan, isn't she studying abroad? How did she come back? Did you schedule a dinner time? The next Saturday, they have already agreed in the group that the 4-star level of the Fuzhou Grand Hotel is still acceptable. They said it was arranged by the class monitor Wang Wei, and we can go together then. Okay, let's call and go together. Zhou Chao replied after thinking for a moment. Okay, we'll meet and chat later. I'll go to work first, Lei Mingtang said before hanging up the phone. Host, are you checking in today? Sign in. Successful check.in, congratulations to the host for obtaining. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Renting a house. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Renting a House. Successful check.in, congratulations to the host for signing in with the Skill Car God. Skill Car God. Top racing driver, motorcycle, racing, etc. Zhou Chao was instantly excited. Although he claimed to have a driver's license and know how to drive, he was only able to drive away. A wave of information flooded into Zhou Chao's mind, and he was prepared for the pain. However, after waiting for a long time without any response, he asked, System, what's going on? Are you reading too many novels? A person's brain has a large capacity, and this information can only be considered a drop in the bucket. Are you foolish? Did you say that about the host? Zhou Chao's mind was buzzing. I lifted my phone and looked at the time at 9:10. It seemed that the convenience store was going to open later today. After some thought, Zhou Chao went to find an intermediary company to rent out the 10 houses he signed in for yesterday. He quickly tidied up and took the keys and left the house. I haven't come back in a few years, where can I find a reliable intermediary company? It seems like I still need to call Lei Peizhen to ask. Then I took out the phone and called Fa Xiao Lei Mingtang. Hello, Lazy, do you have any familiar friends who work as real estate agents? Yes, you know her too. The tomboy Shu Lijuan who sat in front of you in high school is currently working at home. You can go find her, right over at Jean Kai Kai. I'll send her phone number to you, and I'll have a meeting here. Okay, you're busy, I'll go find her. Zhou Chao finished speaking and hung up the phone, then kicked the gas pedal and killed Jean Kailu. Jean Kai Kai has arrived home at the store. Zhou Chao stood at the door and looked inside. He saw a room full of people standing in a meeting, so he stood by the roadside and pulled out a cigarette. A crisp sound came from behind. "Handsome guy, I'm the real estate consultant who has arrived home. I just saw you looking around. Do you want to see the house?" Zhou Chao turned around and saw a workplace beauty wearing a black suit, white high heels, and exquisite shoulder-length short hair. He was stunned for a moment. "Hello, I'm here to find Shu Lijuan. I saw you guys in a meeting and didn't disturb you." Unexpectedly, before Zhou Chao could finish speaking, the beauty in front of her looked at her meaningfully and said, "Old classmate, am I really not in your eye? You don't even know me when I stand in front of you. Are you Shu Lijuan? It's really fake. That fake kid from the past is now a beautiful woman. She has undergone 18 changes since she last met in a few years, and she can't even recognize her," Zhou Chao said in surprise as he looked at his charming old classmate in front of him. "What are you looking for me today? Is there anything I need?" "I didn't hear from Lazy that you were working at home, so I wanted to ask you to help me rent out a house," Zhou Chao replied. "Where's the house?" "It hasn't been seen for a few years, but now it's all developed." Shu Lijuan smiled and said, "How much do you think we can rent for 10 units of 80.100 square meters in Binjiang Community, all of which have good floors?" "Binjiang Community. You still have 10 units. You are really developed, old classmate." Shu Lijuan looked at Zhou Chao in surprise, knowing what had happened at their house, so she felt very surprised. "Didn't I come into contact with Bitcoin during my college years? I bought a little bit at the time, but who knows, a few years later Bitcoin has now risen to $20,000, so I sold a little and bought some real estate." Zhou Chao casually said that when he checked in for the real estate, he had already figured out his words. After all, there were also many people around him who were familiar with his family situation, and in order to avoid future problems. "Don't forget us old classmates when you get rich. Let's go to the store and sign the commission agreement." Shu Lijuan finished speaking and turned to walk towards the store. Zhou Chao immediately followed suit and walked into the store. "Manager Wang, this is my old classmate who is planning to entrust me to rent out some houses for him. I will take him to sign a commission agreement," Shu Lijuan said to the middle-aged man in his 40s as she walked into the store. "Well, you can take it to the signing room," Manager Wang nodded as she looked at Shu Lijuan. Shu Lijuan took out the commission agreement from the cabinet and said to Zhou Chao, "Let's go, Zhou Chao. Wait for me, I'll go to the car and get the property certificate," Zhou Chao said as he walked towards the Hongguang Mini parked outside the store. Shu Lijuan watched as Zhou Chao walked in from the door with his property certificate, and then led him into the signing room. 10 minutes later, Shu Lijuan jokingly walked out of the store with Zhou Chao and turned to Zhou Chao, saying, "After renting out, deduct the corresponding agency fee and transfer the rent to your card." Then please. They're all old classmates, don't say that. By the way, you should be going to the party tomorrow night. Shu Lijuan looked at Zhou Chao and said. Zhou Chao pondered for a moment and said, "I will go then, so I'll leave first. See you tomorrow night." "Okay, see you tomorrow night," Shu Lijuan said before turning around and returning to the store. Zhou Chao was about to drive to the small shop when the phone rang. "Hello, third aunt, what's wrong?" "Chaoer, come over for dinner tonight. Your sister also came back from vacation this afternoon, but she has been nagging in my ear." Zhou Chao heard the third aunt across from me say with a hint of complaint. "Well, my little sister is on vacation in the afternoon and I will go to school to pick her up." "Yes, you can pick up Xiaoyan and come over. I'll go buy groceries. Remember to have breakfast this afternoon." "Okay," Zhou Chao said and hung up the phone. After thinking for a moment, he drove towards the convenience store. "I don't know how to write it, it's too difficult for newcomers, 555555. I have ideas, but I can't combine the language." Hey, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. Future development. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 4 Future development. In the blink of an eye, it was afternoon. Zhou Chao looked at the time and it was already 16:08. He then took the key, closed the door of the small shop, and drove to school. When Zhou Chao arrived at the school, a group of students had already walked out from the school gate and took out their phones to call their younger sister. Her phone number was still given to him by his aunt in the morning. At this moment, Guoyan walked out of the classroom with her best friend Kylan. Kylan, let's go climb the North Mountain this weekend. Guoyan said to her friend beside her as she walked. The sound of the phone vibrating came from Guoyan's bag. Hello, may I ask who you are? Zhou Chao held the phone and heard a crisp and childish voice coming from the other end, like a silver bell. Hello, Xiaoyan, I'm your brother Zhou Chao. Have you finished school yet? I'm at the entrance of your school, Zhou Chao said with a smile. Brother, are you really my brother? I will be at the school gate soon. Zhou Chao saw his sister running over from a distance and saying, Brother, I miss you so much. He saw Guoyan hanging on Zhou Chao like a koala. Get down quickly, this big person is still like a child, Zhou Chao said softly as he looked at his sister in his arms. Xiaoyan, is this the super handsome brother you often tell me about? Kylan said to Guoyan, who had just come off Zhou Chao, out of breath. This is my handsome brother. Brother, let me introduce you to my best friend Kylan. How beautiful is she? Guoyan took Kylan's hand and said to Zhou Chao. Zhou Chao extended his right hand and said to Kylan, Hello, my name is Zhou Chao. You can call me Chao Gu like Xiaoyan. Super brother, shy Kylan reached out her right hand and gently grasped Zhou Chao's hand, then released it. Brother Chao's hands are so comfortable, Caroline buried her head in her chest like an ostrich. Zhou Chao looked at Guoyan and said, Go home. Your mother is already cooking. Why don't you take your best friend home with you? Upon hearing Zhou Chao's words, Kylan looked up and said, Brother Chao, I won't go to Xiaoyan. My mother is also cooking at home and waiting for me to go back. Okay, then my brother and I will leave, Guoyan said with a hint of reluctance. Zhou Chao and his younger sister Guoyan got into the car and drove towards home. Brother, is this your car? Guoyan kept looking at the small car. Well, I just bought it when I got back, and it happens to be a good place to travel. Anyway, all the documents are complete, and Zhou Chao can say whatever he wants. Mom, my brother and I are back. Is the food ready? Guoyan shouted as soon as she entered the door. It's ready soon. I'll stir-fry another dish and you'll be ready to eat. Where's my dad? He hasn't finished work yet. Your dad went downstairs to buy cigarettes. Before he could finish speaking, the sound of the door opening rang, and Guo's dad came back. Xiao Chao, Xiaoyan, you guys are back. We'll be eating soon, Guo's dad said as he looked at the two people sitting on the sofa. Old man, come in quickly and take out the dishes. Let's start cooking. The sound came from the kitchen. After a few people sat down, Guoyan looked at the table full of dishes and pouted, Mom is just biased. When my brother comes back, he will make delicious food. You naughty little rascal, so many dishes still can't stop your mouth. Hurry up and eat. Xiao Chao, do you have any plans in the future? Guo's father next to him said to Zhou Chao with chopsticks. I'll be staying in Fuzhou for the time being, and I might go out and explore in a while. In the future, I'll leave the convenience store to you, San Gu, to manage. Zhou Chao thought for a moment and said. Hey, you're still young now, so you should go out and explore. I'll keep an eye on the small shop for you. After all, it's something your parents left for you. After finishing his meal, Zhou Chao drove his Macro Mini back home and lay in bed, thinking about his future path. With the system now, he would definitely become more and more wealthy in the future. Fuqing is too small, and if more and more things are signed in the future, staying here will only cause trouble for himself. After all, too much funds will also attract the attention of relevant departments, and only go to super first-tier cities. Time silently arrived the next day. System check.in. Successful check.in. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a set of Italian chiton handmade custom suits. Chiton is purely handmade customization. Zhou Chao took out his phone and searched online, learning that this is a company specialized in making suits. Claim. Zhou Chao changed into a custom-made suit on the sofa and looked at his handsome self in the mirror with a knowing smile. Perfect, 82 points, and the remaining 18 points were given to him with a score of 666. The vast horizon is my love, and flowers are blooming at the foot of the endless green mountains. While Zhou Chao was feeling narcissistic, the phone rang. Hello, lazy. At 7 p.m., on the 6th floor of Fuzhou Grand Hotel, there is a private room of 666. Don't forget. Got it, I'll see you then. Zhou Chao hung up the phone and sat on the sofa, lost in thought. He rarely contacted his former high school classmates again. When he was in school, except for Fa Xiaolei Mingtang, all other relationships were average. After his first love, Xia Yuan went abroad, he also lost contact, and his feelings for his first love had long since dissipated. In the evening, at the entrance of the Fuzhou Grand Hotel, Zhou Chao had just parked his car when he met Xu Lijuan, who had just gotten off the taxi. Zhou Chao. Oh, Miss Xu, you only have our Zhou Chao in your eyes. I can't even catch your eye, can I? The voice came from behind, and it turned out that the speaker was Lei Mingtang, who had just rushed from the company. Let's go up, they should all be here too, Zhou Chao said as he looked at the two people who were hurting each other. Humph, you deserve to be single in the Thunderbolt battle. Xu Lijuan finished speaking and walked inside with her bag in hand. Zhou Chao and Lei Mingtang exchanged a glance, smiled, and then followed suit. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Different Classmates Gathering. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Different Classmates Gathering. Zhou Chao pushed open the door of room 666 with Lei Zi and Xu Lijuan, and found that 7 or 8 people were already sitting inside. Class monitor Wang Wei was chatting and laughing with everyone when he saw 3 people open the door and enter. Lei Mingtang, Xu Lijuan, yo, Zhou Chao, when did you come back to Fuzhou? You should have a good drink tonight. I haven't seen you for years, how are you doing now? Wang Wei stood up and walked as he said. Xu Lijuan, standing next to Zhou Chao, opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end, she still didn't say anything. Zhou Chao smiled at the words and said, didn't you just have time? Come back and take a look. After a while, you'll be ready to go out and explore. Zhou Chao sat down with Lei Mingtang as he spoke. The old classmates next to them all spoke up and said, hey, it's just a few of you who got into college in the first place. Unlike us, who left high school to venture into society as soon as we graduated, it's better for college students to have more opportunities to choose. Just as everyone was chatting, the door of the private room was opened, and a beautiful woman about 1.6 meters tall, dressed in a white dress, with both body and appearance was walking in. Long time no see, everyone. Wow, Xia Yuan, it's been several years since I last saw her. She's becoming more and more beautiful, class monitor Wang Wei said, staring straight at Xia Yuan. Cough cough, the class monitor is collecting your wild boar-like behavior, and even your eyeballs are about to fall off. Xu Lijuan, sitting next to Wang Wei, whispered softly. Long time no see, Xia Yuan looked at Zhou Chao in front of her, feeling a wave of turmoil in her heart. When she was abroad, she also heard about his family's affairs. A few years later, she also knew that their relationship would not be the same as before. Long time no see. Zhou Chao said with a calm expression in his eyes, how have you been these years? Zhou Chao looked at his former first love in front of him and said, is everything okay? I barely managed to graduate from college. Didn't you go abroad? How did you remember to come back? I graduated and studied finance abroad, so I plan to work in Wudu. Zhou Chao said absent-mindedly, but he thought to himself that if he hadn't obtained the system, he might have graduated from a computer science major at a science and technology university. Perhaps in his lifetime, he would either become a bald programming ape at the age of 30 or go home to guard the small shop left by his parents. At this moment, the waiter gradually brought in the ordered dishes and red wine. Papa, class monitor Wang Wei stood up from his position and patted his hand twice, saying, classmates, this is our first gathering since graduating from high school. Some students have already started work, while others have just graduated from college. Anyway, let's raise our cups and pay tribute to our youth. To our youthful years, I wish everyone a bright future. Everyone raised their cups and drank them all in one gulp. Everyone was chatting and laughing, and there was no such thing as pretending to face each other in the novel. After all, in the 3.4-tier city of Fuzhou, everyone knew the root of the matter and did not say which family was very wealthy. Time flowed like water, and in the blink of an eye, it was 9:30 p.m. Zhou Chao looked at his phone and gave Lei Zi a glance before saying, you guys talk first, I'll go to the bathroom. After that, he walked outside. Wait for me, I'll be with you. Lei Mingtang also walked out. Chao, what's wrong? It's okay, I'm ready to go back. I'll let you go together. Don't you say hello. It's okay, let's talk about it in the group later. Zhou Chao led Lei Mingtang downstairs to the front desk of the hotel and said, hello, how much did you spend on the 666 private room in total? Hello, you have spent a total of 3,580 yuan. Zhou Chao took out his phone and scanned the code to make the payment. Lei Mingtang pulled Zhou Chao from behind and said, why did you pay the money alone? Aren't you looking down on me? Zhou Chao smiled, turned around and walked out of the hotel, took out a cigarette, looked up at the starry night sky, and turned to Fa Lei Mingtang, saying, I'm ready to go back to the demon. I may not come back in the short term, and I don't know if I'll have the chance to see these old classmates again in the future. I've figured it out. When will you leave? I thought you would stay in Fuzhou this time when you came back. You should go out and explore alone. Remember to call if you have any difficulties then. Zhou Chao smiled and said, don't worry, I won't forget you when I'm developed. The two of them glanced at each other and laughed heartily. Lazy, remember to mention it in the group later, after all, it's not good for us to leave without saying a word. Well, I got it. Zhou Chao casually took a taxi, said to Lei Mingtang, and then took the taxi and left. Because I had some alcohol just now, I didn't drive back. I'm planning to come back tomorrow when I have time. It has been 3 days since the last gathering, and Zhou Chao has also signed in 3 times in these 3 days, all in cash, accumulating 880,000 yuan. With the original amount added, there is now over 1.8 million yuan in his bank account. After thinking for a moment, Zhou Chao took out his phone and called his third aunt, Sangu, I'm ready to go back to the Demon City. When will we leave? Book a flight for tomorrow afternoon. Hey, you need to be careful when you're outside alone. I know, Auntie, I'll bring you the keys to the small shop and my Hongguang Mini later. Why give me the car key? Keep it and drive it yourself. I'm leaving tomorrow, so it's useless for me to keep it. You usually drive to buy groceries, or if my younger sister is about to graduate, you can ask her to learn her driver's license and give it to her. Okay, Zhou Chao hung up the phone, tidied up the house, and walked out with 2 keys. I can't write well, please forgive me. Do not spray. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Zhou sign back to the Magic City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Zhou signed back to the Magic City the next day. Zhou Chao got up early in the morning because today was his first weekly sign after obtaining the system, so he was very excited and didn't know what good things would be signed in. He woke up early. Zhou Chao was worried that he was a non-chieftain, so he took a shower and turned on the music. Good luck. System check.in. Successful check.in. Congratulations to the host for receiving the weekly signing gift package. Would you like to open it? Open the weekly signature gift package. Congratulations to the host for receiving 10,000 yuan in cash, a top-of-the-line Maserati President's car with a Magic City license, and a 545 square meter old Western-style house in the city center of SH. Zhou Chao looked at the open Zhou Zhang gift package and his hands trembled unconsciously. Not to mention the 10 million yuan in cash, the Maserati alone was almost 4 million yuan. Zhou Chao had never ridden such a good car in his previous life, let alone the old Western-style house in the city center of SH. Trembling with both hands, he opened his phone and searched for old Western-style houses in the city center of Shanghai. Zhou Chao stared at his phone with his eyes fixed on his face, and the price on the screen made Zhou Chao look like a dead chicken. 200 million, my goodness, Zhou Chao's heart trembled. Zhou Chao sat paralyzed on the sofa, muttering incessantly, I've sent it, I've sent it. After half an hour, Zhou Chao finally recovered and calmed his excited heart. System, where are the checked-in items? The cash has been deposited into your bank card. The car is at the Magic City Hongqiao Airport, the property certificate is in the car, and the car key is on the table. Can you simplify the system into a data panel? Okay, host. Zhou Chao, age. 24 years old, skill. Car god, cash. 11.84 million inch items. Maserati President X1, Old Western House X1, 10 units in Binjiang community, etc. Zhou Chao looked at the data panel and in just 1 week, his net worth had already exceeded 100 million, and his face was already smiling like a flower. After tidying up, Zhou Chao went out and bought 2 bouquets of white chrysanthemums nearby. He then took a taxi to Qinglong Cemetery. Zhou Chao's trip was to see his former parents. After all, he is now Zhou Chao and his own parents. Zhou Chao came to his parents' grave, put down the flowers in his hand, looked at the 2 tombstones in front of him, and said, Since I have come to this world, I will live a good life on behalf of your son. Don't worry. Zhou Chao sat in front of his predecessor's parents' tomb, muttering something in his mouth. Half an hour later, Zhou Chao stood up and patted his pants, saying, I'm leaving. I've been out this time, and I don't know when I'll be back. I'll come back to see you guys during holidays and festivals in the future. After that, Zhou Chao turned around and left. Upon returning home, Zhou Chao simply tidied up his things and walked out the door with his suitcase. He looked back at the house and said, goodbye, before locking the door. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the weather in the foggy city of July was not as hot as usual. Zhou Chao sat in the waiting room, holding half of the mineral water in his hand and looking at the passing crowd with scattered eyes. Dong, the flight of Air China 9527 from Wudu to Modu has started ticket checking. Zhou Chao entered the fast lane with a first-class ticket and found his seat near the window on the plane. Zhou Chao leaned back on his chair and looked out the window with empty eyes, his thoughts wandering for 9 days. Hello, that spot inside is mine. Zhou Chao, who was wandering, heard a very comfortable voice in his ear, gentle as a clear spring. Upon hearing this, Zhou Chao turned his head and saw a tall figure wearing sunglasses and a mask. He couldn't tell what he looked like, but his figure also showed that he was a beautiful woman. Zhou Chao took out his ticket and looked at it. It turned out that he had taken the wrong seat. The one closest to the outside was his own. He quickly stood up and said to the beautiful woman, Sorry, I didn't notice earlier. It's okay. Zhou Chao stepped aside and let the beautiful woman in. He sat back in his seat and saw the beautiful woman next to him take off her sunglasses and mask. Zhou Chao's eyes were fixed on her. Beyond sister, Zhou Chao looked at the woman in front of him in surprise and said, "Hello, I can be considered half of your fan." "Hello, can there still be half a fan?" "Of course, I cooked and ate the remaining half of the fans." "Ha ha ha, you're quite interesting. Going beyond you and going to the devil is all about filming a drama." "No, I'm going to participate in an activity and take a break." As soon as Chao Yue finished speaking, he tilted his head towards the window. Zhou Chao also consciously didn't speak anymore. Zhou Chao also closed his eyes to rest, and time passed in a blink of an eye. When Zhou Chao woke up, the plane had already arrived at Hongqiao Airport. At this moment, Zhou Chao could no longer hold back his restless heart, as he was about to see his luxury car and mansion, and now he couldn't wait. Hurriedly disembarking from the plane, he rushed to the parking lot of Hongqiao Airport and left without even saying hello to his sister. By the time Zhou Chao arrived at the parking lot, he was already gasping for breath and staring at the densely packed cars with his hands pressed on his knees. Everyone was stunned. "System, there are so many cars here. How do I know which one belongs to me? How do you ask me to find it?" "The car is parked at parking lot 168 on the first floor." 168, 168, Zhou Chao muttered as he walked towards parking space 168. "Wow. I saw a champagne-colored Maserati parked in parking space 168, with license plate Shanghai AA2222, Zhou Chao trembled as he took out the key from his bag, opened the car door, sat inside, and saw a document bag placed in the passenger seat. He took the document bag and opened it, revealing a property certificate and related documents. Taking out the property certificate and flipping through it, Zhou Chaoyue found that the old Western-style house is located in Lane 18, Yanqing Road. It is a duplex villa with 3 empty faces, and a garden alone covers nearly 200 square meters. The more excited Zhou Chaoyue looked at it, the more excited he became. After reading for a while, Zhou Chao left his property certificate in the passenger seat and drove Martha out of the parking lot. As soon as he drove into the garage, he saw a passing car and a little girl standing on the roadside. Zhou Chao then pulled over the car. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Old Western-style houses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Old Western-style houses. Chaoyue's sister, the car arranged by the event organizer is stuck on the way, I don't know when it will arrive. Chaoyue's assistant said with grievances, holding her luggage. Forget it, you little fool. What's the use of saying these things now? You can book a special car online now. Chaoyue looked at the crying assistant and shook his head. Transcending, standing on the roadside, watching a Maserati slowly approaching her and finally stopping in front of her, the car window slowly lowered. Chaoyue, where are you going? Let me see you off. I see you've been standing here for a while now. Zhou Chao poked his head out of the car and said, Ah, it's you. It's really fate. The car sent by the event organizer is stuck on the elevated road, so we're planning to take a taxi to the hotel first. Come on up, I'll take you to the hotel. The assistant looked at the car and thought for a moment before finally opening the rear seat door. Thank you, he said. What hotel did you book? Bulgari, don't you know what to call a handsome guy, said Chaoyue, looking at the handsome Zhou Chao driving in the car. Zhou Chao, Zhou is the one who travels around the world. Chao is extraordinary and extraordinary. He is 24 years old and currently single. Before Zhou Chao could finish speaking, the laughter in the back row was reminiscent of a silver bell. Zhou Chao looked up in the rearview mirror and saw that Chaoyue and the assistant had already burst into laughter. He instantly felt like he had died on the spot. The assistant looked at Zhou Chao while driving and said, Handsome guy, are you introducing yourself to a blind date? Are you interested in my family, Chaoyue? Chaoyue has never had a boyfriend in my family, so I take good care of you. Chaoyue heard the assistant say something about her and immediately reached out to cover her mouth. Don't listen to her nonsense, said Chao Yue urgently. Upon hearing this, Zhou Chao burst out laughing heartily, watching as Chao Yue's sister and assistant were losing each other behind him. With the three of them laughing and laughing, he had already arrived at the Bulgari Hotel. Handsome guy, I'm sorry to trouble you this time. Can you make friends and add contact information? Chao Yue looked at Zhou Chao in front of her and said, Chao Yue's personality is usually carefree, daring to speak and act. After today's simple contact, I think Zhou Chao is someone who can be friends. After parking the car, Zhou Chao turned his head and said, sure, I'm also a fan of yours, of course I would. Zhou Chao happily took out his phone, added friends to each other, and left their contact information. The assistant opened the car door, took his luggage, overtook his sister and got out of the car. He smiled at Zhou Chao and shook his phone, saying, keep in touch when you have time. Well, I'll be mostly in the Magic City in the future. If there's anything you can do, feel free to contact me. I can do anything I can to help. Okay, Zhou Chao turned around and walked towards the hotel with her assistant. Looking at her back, he couldn't help but smile. Zhou Chao looked at the backs of Chao Yue's sister and assistant, as they walked into the hotel. He then started his car and ran towards his mansion. Looking at the traffic outside the car window, the corner of his mouth involuntarily twitched. He had been stuck on the road for half an hour, and his initial excitement had been worn away by the traffic of the Demon City. At 8:10 p.m., Zhou Chao finally drove to his mansion. Holding a file bag, he took out the key and opened the door to the old Western-style house. The style of the old Western-style house is Mediterranean style, with a total of 3 floors. It looks like a square overall and has a relatively simple form. To the south and left of the old Western-style house is a symmetrical outdoor staircase, which is decorated with flower iron railings, lanterns, and other decorations. The exterior wall of the building is a light yellow color, and the roof of the entrance mountain wall is curved with stickers. The doors and windows are all round arched, the window panels are in a shell shape, and the windows are decorated with Islamic-style twisted rope columns, in a proper Mediterranean style. Opening the door and walking in, Zhou Chao found that the interior was brand new, with all the household appliances and furniture inside. He turned on the lights and strolled through the entire building. The first floor was 200 square meters long, with a spacious living room, a kitchen, and a nanny room, making him dizzy. The second floor had 3 bedrooms and a large landscape balcony, while the third floor had a large entertainment room with everything from billiards, KTV, chess and card rooms to computer rooms. Zhou Chao looked at 3 bedrooms and finally chose one with a large balcony and a view of the garden that came with the old Western-style house. He lay contented in bed, but his stomach began to growl. Zhou Chao took out his phone and called the person who marked Li as the boss. Hey, Mr. Li, you're not even in the Demon. I'll go back to the Demon and come out for a late-night snack. Second, do you still know how to call me? I'm not in the Magic City, I'm in Jinling, and I can't come back now. Tomorrow, when I come back from Jinling, I'll be at Juju. Okay, Zhou Chao hung up his phone and stared blankly at the ceiling. Li, the eldest, shares a university dormitory with him. There are a total of 4 people in the dormitory. The eldest, Li Yan, is the successor of the Magic City Li Group, with a market value of over 30 billion yuan. He is a wealthy second generation. The second one is Zhou Chao, the third one is Su Wenjing, who is from northeast China and is just 1 word away from a famous director. So when he was in college, he was called Director Su. His family works in northeast China as a medicinal herb, and before he graduated, he was called back by his family to study management. The fourth one is Xiao Feng, from Kyoto, and his family is all in politics. Currently, he works as an assistant to the town mayor in Shudu. Only Zhou Chao is someone who lacks strength and background, but during his 4 years in university, their relationship has become like brothers. Looking at the phone that had already hung up in my hand, I snapped back and ordered a takeout online. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Shopping. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Shopping. Early in the morning, Zhou Chao woke up from his 80 square meter oversized bedroom and looked out the window. The sunlight shining on the balcony penetrated through the tall branches outside, like a salted fish, lying on the bed. System check.in. Successful check.in. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Young Master Ryu. Young Master Ryu. Zhou Chao sat up from the bed and looked at the check.in reward just now. Please explain it to the system. This system is designed to create a true god of glory. As a future god of glory, you may not struggle on the surface, but you must have the corresponding temperament, rather than being a nouveau riche who only knows how to pretend to be forced to fight. A group of crows flew over Zhou Chao's forehead. Before, I could only be considered an otaku, not a loser. Zhou Chao's heart was powerless in refutation. Claim. As soon as the words were finished, Zhou Chao's mind seemed to be filled with a duck. Various etiquette, ways of speaking, and other knowledge exploded like fireworks in his mind. Zhou Chao lay back in bed, closed his eyes, and absorbed the knowledge that had just been transmitted through the system. As time passed by, towards noon, Zhou Chao opened his eyes, as if two beams of light burst out from his eyes. He stood up and walked towards the closet. Standing in front of the mirror in the dressing room, Zhou Chao looked at himself in the mirror. He was still the same person as yesterday, but the temperament reflected in his eyes and face was completely different. He felt like yesterday's self was like a passerby in a group of people, and today's self was the shining point that attracted the attention of the crowd. Zhou Chao smiled slightly and looked at himself in the mirror, feeling like he was almost in love with him. His eyes were full of energy, his mouth slightly curved, and he was completely the protagonist in the TV series. I admired myself in the cloakroom for about 10 minutes. Looking at my hair and clothes, I felt that they didn't match well. So I took out my phone and searched online for a skilled Tony teacher and a place to do styling. Zhou Chao searched for some information online, tidied it up briefly, took the key, and set off. He planned to go to the IFC National Financial Center to take a look and buy a few sets of clothes. After all, he still wore the ones he bought before, and to some extent, they still didn't match. Soon, Zhou Chao drove to the Guojin Center located in Lujiazui, the capital of China. He had never bought such high-end clothes before and didn't know which one was suitable for him, so he wandered aimlessly. Hello handsome guy, I noticed you've been wandering here for a while. May I ask if there's anything I can help you with? Zhou Chao wandered aimlessly when a mature and slightly elegant voice came from beside him. He turned around and looked at the lady standing behind him. Hello, I'll just take a look and see if there's anything suitable for me to wear. Sir, your surname? Weak. Hello Mr. Zhou, I am the manager of Armani at Guojin Center. Would you be interested in taking a look? Zhou Chao looked at the slender but elegant Armani store manager in front of him and said, let's go. Here, please. Zhou Chao followed the manager of the Ujia store into Armani's store, looking at the exquisite and diverse clothing. He said to the manager next to him, could you please help me choose some suitable outfits according to my figure? The manager of the Ujia store didn't say much, so he took Zhou Chao to the changing room and immediately paired him with clothes. Professional people are quick to do things, and in less than 5 minutes, they chose 4 or 5 sets for Zhou Chao. Zhou Chao himself has a very good physique, standing at 181 meters tall and with a very handsome appearance. Coupled with an unparalleled extraordinary temperament, Zhou Chao changed into a casual outfit and walked out of the changing room. The manager of the Imperial Sister store stared at Zhou Chao with her eyes fixed on him, feeling a bit hairy as if she was about to eat him. Zhou Chao could only cough lightly and say, cough. I'm sorry, sir. You look like you walked out of a painting in this outfit, elegant young master. It looks like jade, she said, waking up the store manager. Zhou Chao smiled slightly and said, please help me choose 2 sets for leisure, sports, and formal attire. I believe in your judgment. Okay, please wait a moment. Soon, the manager of the Imperial Sister store walked over with a salesperson holding several sets of clothes. Sir, please take a look. They are all the sizes you just tried on. Is there anything you don't like among these sets? Zhou Chao took a simple look and felt very satisfied with the color combination. He nodded and said, I'll take it all. Can you put it up for me? Okay, Mr. Zhou, please wait a moment, said the manager happily. Several sets of clothes were quickly packed. Hello Mr. Zhou, after the discount, your total is 522,200 yuan. May I ask if you want to pay by card or mobile phone, said the manager respectfully. Swipe your card. Immediately, I took out my bank card from Huaxia Bank and handed it over. Soon, Yujia brought over the bill and bank card. Mr. Zhou, please keep your bank card safe. Can you help me deliver the rest to my home when I change clothes? Sure, Mr. Zhou. Could you please leave an address, phone number, and time? I will personally deliver it to you then. Upon hearing this, Zhou Chao nodded and gave his address and phone number to the manager of the Imperial Sister store, and then left Armani. At this moment, the sales of Armani's store all gathered around the manager of Yujia and asked, Sister, how did you discover this big customer? He is handsome and wealthy. The manager of the Imperial Sister shop gave a mysterious smile and immediately said, Temperament, deep eyes, okay, let's all focus on our work. Please let me know what's wrong in the comments section. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Playing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Playing. After leaving the Armani store, Zhou Chao went straight to the underground warehouse and bought all the clothes. Now, there was only one teacher left, Tony. He checked online and was preparing to go to C.House near Fengxian Road in Jing'an District. It is said that many celebrities are doing their styling there, so Zhou Chao also wants to find a Tony teacher who suits him. When Zhou Chao arrived at C.House, it was already almost 2 p.m. As he walked in, he found that many people were already doing hairstyles. A young receptionist walked up to Zhou Chao. Hello sir, are you here to do the styling? Can we do it now? Okay, Director Tony is also here now. Okay, then you can arrange it. Okay, please sit over here. Not long after Zhou Chao sat down, he saw a middle-aged man walking over and saying, Hello, I'm Director Tony. May I ask what kind of outfit you want, sir? Zhou Chao pondered for a moment and said, Look at my facial design. Good. Director Tony's movements were very fast. In less than 30 minutes, Zhou Chao felt like he had changed his personality, perfectly highlighting his facial features. Coupled with his unparalleled temperament, he was simply stunned. Director Tony nodded in satisfaction when he saw his masterpiece and said, Handsome guy, that's it. Zhou Chao looked at his appearance and felt very satisfied. The place he found online was really good, so he silently gave himself a like. After settling the bill, Zhou Chao looked at the time and it was almost 3 o'clock. He then took out a phone and called the boss Li Yang. The phone rang for a while, but no one answered. Zhou Chao guessed that Li Yang might be busy, so he hung up and prepared to go to the Bund for a stroll. I have been in the Magic City for 4 years and have never been to the Bund. I have been to school and have never gone out to play. It seems like time is still early, so I am ready to go and explore the Bund that I have heard of for a long time. Zhou Chao drove to the Bund and found a parking spot. The Bund, once known as the 10-mile Yangchang, boasts various architectural styles from the rental period, as well as modern bridges and tunnels. It would be a loss for those who don't even visit the Bund. Walking on the Bund, looking at the historical architectural complex known as Architecture of All Nations, these buildings include both Renaissance British architecture, Baroque and Gothic architecture, as well as French classical architecture. These buildings used to be some foreign companies, some famous restaurants, shops, and various entertainment venues. Now, this place has become the headquarters of banks such as Pudong Development Bank and Huaxia Bank, as well as some overseas consulates in Moscow, customs buildings, peace hotels, and so on. It is a place worth visiting. Standing by the Huangpu River and looking at the Oriental Pearl TV tower on the other side of the river, I feel that the emotions of the past few years have been released at this moment, and I feel relaxed. Walking slowly along the Huangpu River towards the direction of Huangpu Park, looking at the scenery on both sides of the Huangpu River, one feels a sense of contentment. In Huangpu Park, Zhou Chao looked at the park, which had undergone more than 100 years of historical trials, and captured the traces of history with his phone. Zhou Chao looked at the People's Heroes Memorial Tower in front of him and silently lowered his head. This People's Heroes Memorial Tower is to commemorate the people's heroes who sacrificed themselves in the Opium War, May 4th Movement, and Liberation War. History will not be forgotten, and we will always remember it. Zhou Chao was attracted by the beautiful scenery of the Bund. Many scenic spots, such as Chenyi Square, Baidu Bridge, Bund Art Museum, and Bund Starry Sky Art Museum, unknowingly began to darken. The sound of the phone shaking came from inside his handbag. Zhou Chao took out his phone and swiped his finger across the screen, saying, "Hey, boss, you're done. Just finished the meeting, where are you now?" "I'm on the Bund now. I'll send you an address, come over, I've booked a location here." "Okay." Zhou Chao looked at the address sent by the boss on his phone, Tianping Road, Suhui District, without much thought, and drove towards this place. Half an hour later, Zhou Chao arrived at the location of the boss, Huanggongzi, and looked at the restaurant hidden in a two-story old Western-style house in the city center, which was filled with surprise. Zhou Chao was about to call the boss when he heard someone behind him give him a pat. He turned around and looked at the man who was 183 meters tall, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, and was 1 point behind his handsome appearance. He said, "Boss, can you not call me the second?" His resentful eyes were fixed on Li Yang. Li Yang's body trembled with a chill as he watched. Let's not make an exception. Let's go in, I've set my position." As Li Yang walked forward, he introduced himself, "Don't be fooled by the name of this restaurant, Huanggongzi. The owner is actually a beautiful woman. Your brother and my friend have been here a few times before, and the dishes are all very good. The taste is good. I will recommend some special dishes for you to try later." Zhou Chao followed Li Yang up to the second floor, looking at those retro European-style chandeliers, ceramic vases with a strong sense of the times, tableware with a Renaissance style, crystal-carved backs, and so on. From every corner, one can feel the elegant and unique taste of the restaurant owner. As soon as Li Yang sat down, he clapped his hands and saw that the food was served outside. The first course was fruit before dinner, the second was royal stewed egg and king crab meat with caviar, the third was salad. Fried goose liver with pomegranate oil and vinegar, the fourth was soup. Stewed chicken with dendrobium and seahorse, the fifth was sashimi. Hokkaido fresh shellfish with fresh truffle slices, the sixth was main dish. Royal fragrant spare ribs and private black truffle abalone braised pork belly in brown sauce. Zhou Chao calmly looked at the dishes on the table. If it had been before, Zhou Chao might have been unable to hold on to the dishes in front of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Single chapter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Single chapter. Sign the contract, make an effort to code it. Thank you for your support. Mango hopes to provide you with the best reading experience and also hopes that you can support Mango's books more. You can swipe your monthly and recommended tickets to support Mango. Mango, I have also created a book friend group. If you have any opinions or suggestions, you can tell Mango in the book friend group number 102-248-6809. Thank you very much for your support. End of this chapter.